Howdy folks, Nathan Adlin here with the Fast Lane Car, and this is the 2017 Chrysler Pacifica minivan. Now we've already done a video on this vehicle, but we didn't give you driving impressions. That's coming up next. Pentastar's V6, they've been using a lot of these. They're good engines. This one puts out 287 horsepower and 266 pound-feet of torque. It's hooked up to a 9-speed automatic transmission feeding the front wheels, and it gets on the highway EPA rating of 28 mpg, which is pretty damn good. Now, you might be wondering, well, isn't there a hybrid version? Yes, it's coming out later, and we'll tell you all about it once we get a chance to drive it. But just so you know, we did just find out that this baby can tow, according to FCA, 3,600 pounds. Pretty good. I'm really impressed by how solid the ride is. When I mean solid, I don't mean that it's rough, because it's not. Cruising on the back roads, performance has been really good. Look, I'm not trying to push this thing through corners really hard, because I know it's not a sports car, but at the same time, it really does well. It does have an independent rear suspension, and because of that, it really feels like it's a lot more planted on the road. When I'm on over a few potholes, it's much more isolated. The structure is not really disturbed. This is a pre-production vehicle too, so I'm actually surprised with how tight it's built. If you've driven the Chrysler 200 or even the 300, then the interior on the Pacifica would be really familiar to you. And that's because they're using the same materials and very similar switchgear. That's a good thing, because in this van, it really does feel like it's a luxury vehicle. This definitely feels like a higher scale vehicle than the ones it competes against. Now, I can verify that the seats are comfortable, but there are a couple things you should know. First of all, yes, there is a vacuum system available, and yes, you can get a 3-pane panoramic sunroof, but if you get the sunroof, you lose one of the seats. And the reason why? With the sunroof in place, you don't have that center seatbelt coming down for the middle person, which means that this is a 7-passenger van instead of an 8-passenger van, which it can go up to. Steering. Not a ton of feedback. You shouldn't expect it, but its weight is pretty good. I have a pretty good idea of what the front wheels are doing. For people who drive minivans as a daily driver, there are a few things that are really important, one of which is turning radius. Now, when I first saw this van, I thought it's going to turn around like a bus, but I was completely wrong. Its turning radius is impressively tight, as we just caught on camera. Second thing is throttle response. Yeah, it's actually kind of snappy. It tugs at the leash a little bit. You have to have a very light foot, or else it feels like it just wants to kind of lurch forward. Passing power, it's not too bad. It actually will speed up nicely. When I accelerate, I can't really feel it change gears. I can hear it just a little tiny bit. We're in a van that has the entertainment system. The cool thing about it is they can work independently of each other, and they all have independent USB and HDMI ports and headphone ports. Stow and go seating. Now, they perfected it. It's very, very simple. These seats fold very quickly into the floor, and the cool thing is you don't even have to move the floor mat to fold them. But what you do is you push a button, the seat pulls forward automatically, and then boop, folds right into the floor. The rear seats, just as easy. One lever pull, boop, 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 into the floor. Seating position is outstanding. I thought that the window would be too low and cut me off at the eyes, like right here, and not even close. It's way above my head. Outside views are pretty good. There's no major issues with blind spots compared to any other minivan that I can think of. Yeah, the rear pillar does take up some space, but the mirrors seem to compensate. They're a pretty good size. I'm able to clearly see out of them. Now, I've already parked this vehicle once and it was a breeze. push the parking button. Here's the display. I hit OK to go to this one. And then, should be searching right now. There we go. Keep moving forward. Stop and remove hands from the steering wheel, if you can see that right there.
Oh, space found for you.
Shift to reverse. So at this point, my hands are free. Now it's showing our position here and here. And the steering wheel is doing all the work. Seems to like it. Yeah. So those are all the warnings, and then the brakes will kick in if you don't do it at the very last moment. That's it.
So it senses, okay.
But it only does this whole thing in reverse. It won't pull into a spot going forward, only in reverse. I wanted to point something out in terms of seat comfort. Yes, these seats are very comfortable. This passenger seat is backed up just about as far as it can go, and I still have enough room for my legs, my knees, and my feet can go underneath the seat in front of me. Now that's good for tall people like Roman or freakishly tall Andre, who have leg like giraffe. They can easily fit in here too. The seats itself is comfortable and headroom is pretty good. I actually have a really tall torso and I'm able to fit in here no problem. Here's a real big plus. You have the air conditioning vents right here and air conditioning controls right here, out of the way and at the same time doing exactly what it needs to do, exactly where you want it. There is a lot of competition, mainly from Honda and Toyota. So those are the main ones, and then you've got the Kias and Hyundais, and they're all great models. So visually, this is by far the best looking. It's just got absolutely elegant lines. You can tell they really took their time to try to make it as pleasing to the eye as possible. I mean, how do you make a box sexy, right? A little bit of history for you. Now, first of all, a lot of you are going to say, well, really the minivan started with the Volkswagen Bulli or Combi or van, whatever you want to call it, and sure it did, but in terms of the modern interpretation of the minivan in North America, it really did start in 1983 when Dodge built the Caravan, and it was based on a K-car platform. Now, that vehicle for the 1984 year really kicked off something big because people started getting rid of their station wagons and buying minivans. Now, there's a lot of things that were available that you guys may have forgotten about or perhaps never known that were available on Chrysler minivans. As an example, turbochargers, yes. Manual transmissions, yes. All-wheel drive, yes. These were all available in the past. Now, in terms of currently, stow and go seating, they're the only ones that do it. Internal vacuum cleaner, other ones do it, but they have it as well. I think that they really sweated the details building this. The bottom line is they want to own this segment again. They used to own it, they want to own it again. It's just that simple. This is the Touring L Plus version. It's one step away from being the very top of the line. And as equipped, this one comes at $42,270. Now the base models start the LX at $28,595. And it goes all the way up to the Limited, which is $42,495. That's their base price for those vehicles, and that is competitive with other vehicles in the segment. For the Fast Lane Car, this is Nathan Adlin, and behind the camera, Andrei Smirnov. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you next time.
Now, what car would you choose to go to the countryside and leave a busy city behind? How about the 2017 GMC Acadia? And this is a first drive review coming up right now.